Amberlee Snyder was only 18 years old when her life changed forever. One moment, she was driving to the National Western Stock Show in Denver, focused on chasing her dreams. But the next moment, she was lying on the ground, unable to move her legs. She was fearless and one of the fastest rising stars in barrel racing at the time. But that single mistake on the road led to a devastating crash that broke her back and crushed her future as a rider. At least, that's what the doctors believed. They told her she'd never walk again, that she was paralyzed from the waist down, and worst of all, that she'd never ride a horse again. But Amberlee didn't accept that. She refused to let her story end at that crash site. So now, everyone wants to know how she did it. How did she go from being paralyzed to climbing back on a horse? How did she survive the heartbreak of being told that she'd never do the one thing she lived for? And how did her story go from devastating silence to standing ovations in packed arenas? Amberlee Snyder was born in California in January of 1991. She was the second of 6 kids in a highly competitive family. Her dad, Corey Snyder, was a Major League Baseball player for the LA Dodgers, so winning was in her blood. But Amberlee wasn't interested in baseball. She loved horses, and her passion started early. At just 3 years old, she was already taking riding lessons. But it wasn't until her dad retired and the family moved to Utah that her rodeo career took off. Amberlee dove into everything: barrel racing, pole bending, breakaway roping, and goat tying. She had a strong connection with horses, almost like she could read their mind. Her mom saw that passion and pushed her, and Amberlee lived by what her parents taught her. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. She took that to heart every single day, and boy, did it pay off. By 2009, she was already a certified champion. She dominated the National Little Britches Rodeo Association, winning the All-Round Cowgirl World Championship. That's a huge win. Additionally, Amberlee was super active in the Future Farmers of America, and for the 2009-2010 term, she was elected as the Utah State FFA president. She wasn't just a cowgirl, she was a leader, a champion, and she was just getting started. She had her sights set on college rodeo and a future as bright and beautiful as a Texas sunrise. But she was completely unaware that her life was about to change. January 10, 2010 was a cold day for Amberlee Snyder. She was just 18 years old and was driving her truck from Utah to the National Western Stock Show in Denver, Colorado. She stopped for gas in Rawlins, Wyoming. When she got back in her truck, she made a mistake that nearly cost her her life. Less than 10 miles down the road, Amberlee glanced down to check her map. It only took a few seconds. But when she looked up, her truck had drifted into the wrong lane, so she panicked and jerked the wheel. In an instant, the truck veered off the road and started rolling, flipping 7 times before coming to a stop. Unfortunately, she wasn't wearing a seatbelt, so she got thrown out of the truck and slammed straight into a fence post. The crash shattered her T12 vertebra, and just like that, she couldn't feel her legs anymore. After 5 hours of emergency surgery, the doctor delivered the most devastating news: she would never regain use or feeling below her waist or ride horses again. But the most painful truth came after the doctor told her that if she had only worn her seatbelt, she would still be able to use her legs. That single mistake changed her whole life. And for a girl whose entire identity was wrapped up in being a cowgirl, in the feeling of her legs guiding a powerful animal, this was a devastating experience. The days and months that followed were a bundle of pain, physical therapy, and learning to live in a wheelchair. Every day was a battle. Simple tasks that we usually take for granted, like getting dressed or making a meal, became monumental challenges. But you know the most shocking thing? Amberlee's top priority wasn't walking again. It was riding. Barrel racing isn't something I do, she says. It's who I am. Her mom, Tina, added, they just don't know my Amberlee. Despite the doctor's warning, Amberlee was strong and determined to get back in the saddle. Unbelievably, 4 months after the accident, she did it. She was back on her horse, but this triumphant moment was also one of her hardest days. Amberlee said, honestly, that was one of the hardest days in my life because I realized it wasn't going to be the same. The feeling was gone. She couldn't feel her legs wrapped around her horse, the subtle cues she used to communicate, but she pushed through the heartbreak. That first summer, she and her family went into full-on invention mode. They took a seatbelt from an old car, added a padded seat to her saddle, and even used Velcro to help keep her legs in place. It was all trial and error because nobody had ever tried to do what she was doing, and even with the modifications, the frustrations mounted. One day, while riding with her mom and sister, her mom's horse started acting up. Before the accident, Amberlee would have been the one to jump on and fix the problem, but now she couldn't. That feeling of helplessness was the final straw. She went home that day and told her family to sell her horses, including her beloved barrel horse Power and her roping horse Wrangler. She was done. Thankfully, her mom didn't listen. The horses stayed on the family farm while Amberlee went off to Utah State University, trying to figure out who she was without them. She spent a lot of time avoiding the barn, trying to push away the pain. She wasn't sure she'd ever go back, but the call of the arena is a powerful thing. About a year and a half after the accident, something shifted. She decided to try again. She made her first post-accident barrel run, and less than a week later, she signed up for a competition. Getting back in the competition ring was spectacular. It was like a homecoming. She said, "It's what I've always loved to do and still love to do. The meaning for it now has even grown because it's a place I don't have to be in my wheelchair. I get to be on my horse, and I get to move around like everyone else. It's a joy I have." Her horses, Power and Wrangler, seemed to understand. They adapted in ways that were nothing short of miraculous. The first time she got Power out of the field in her wheelchair, he walked behind her with his head down, so careful not to bump her. It was like he knew. Power and her other horses became her protectors, stepping up in ways she'd never expected. This incredible bond became her new secret weapon and confidence. With a renewed spirit and her horses by her side, Amberlee started rewriting the rule books on what was possible. She joined the Utah State University rodeo team and was riding with able-bodied athletes in the fiercely competitive Rocky Mountain region. In 2014, her nothing but try attitude was officially recognized when she won the prestigious Shane Drury Nothing But Try Scholarship. It was a reward to her relentless spirit, but the best was yet to come. In 2015, a contest was held for RFD TV's The American, the richest one-day rodeo in the world. They had one spot open for a fan exemption, and the rodeo community willingly voted for Amberlee Snyder. She competed in AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, in the same arena as her idols, the legends of the sport. The pressure was immense, as many wondered if she would keep up. But guess what? She didn't just keep up, she shocked everyone. With over 40,000 fans on their feet, Amberlee and her horse Power performed and won flawlessly. Their time was an amazing 15.3 seconds. Put that into perspective, that was only 0.6 seconds slower than the winning time. Although she didn't win the $1 million, she won the hearts of everyone watching and received a thunderous standing ovation. But that was just the beginning. In 2016, she had her best year, finishing in the top 5 for the Rocky Mountain Pro Rodeo Association. She also earned the Women's Professional Rodeo Association card that year. This meant she was officially a pro, ready to compete in circuits like the Ram Wilderness Circuit. In 2021, she proved her pro status by qualifying for the first ever Pro Rodeo Wilderness Circuit Finals. From being told she would never ride again to becoming a pro rodeo athlete, this kind of inspirational story was the first of its kind. Amberlee's story was too powerful to stay within the rodeo arena. She realized her journey gave her a unique platform to inspire others. She became a highly sought-after motivational speaker, sharing her story of resilience with people from all over the country. She also took to social media, starting a weekly video series called Wheelchair Wednesday. In these short, often humorous clips, she shows how she tackles everyday tasks that are now more challenging, from filling her truck with gas to saddling her horse. The videos became a huge hit, and she now has a massive following of over 400,000 fans on Facebook who tune in for their weekly dose of inspiration. Her story eventually caught the eye of Hollywood. In 2019, Netflix released the biopic Walk, Ride, Rodeo, which reached a global audience. Amberlee performed all of her post-crash riding stunts in the movie. Her younger sister, Autumn, whose riding style is very similar, did the pre-crash stunts. How cool is that? In 2020, she made a brief appearance as herself in a massively popular TV show Yellowstone, Season 3, Episode 10, The World is Purple. She went ahead to co-write a song for the Netflix movie soundtrack called Ride. This cowgirl is a multi-talented powerhouse, and when asked to define what a cowgirl is, her answer is exceptional. She says, "Some words that come to me are sassy but classy, with some grit on top." She explains that before her accident, she defined herself by her wins in the arena, but now she sees it differently. It's not just about the buckles you win, it's about the person you are, the influence you have, and the character you show. Amberlee Snyder's inspirational story proves that our biggest setbacks can become our greatest strengths. She didn't just learn to live with her new reality, she shattered every limitation placed upon her. She's a professional athlete, a motivational speaker, a movie stunt woman, and an inspiration to millions. Her journey teaches us that it's okay to have bad days. It's okay to get upset, and it's okay to feel broken. But what matters is that you pick yourself back up. As Amberlee says, as long as you keep going, regardless of those moments, that's what makes you successful. What do you guys think is the most inspiring part of Amberlee's story? Have you ever had a moment that tested your mental toughness and strength? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you enjoyed this inspirational story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Until then, remember Amberlee's words. Just take a minute, be grateful. We'll see you in the next one.